Okay, turn 30. Things aren't going great, to be fully honest. So, looking at the situation, this turn I lost the bulwark. We've had that battle, and if we take a look-see at said battle, the enemy, basically, their main tactic was summoning a ton of fire elementals, which they did very effectively. So they summoned a bunch of fire elementals with these augurs, who were in communion, and were getting a magic boost of 3 from 8 communion slaves, so they were effectively fire 5. Yeah, these are all his fire 2 augurs he's using for that. And so the fire elementals rushed forward. They got kind of hung up, but banishments here destroyed my skeleton group pretty effectively. My pole march up here, I didn't quite have temper flesh, and I didn't script resist fire. So this pole march got murdered by fire elementals because their fire damage went through his protection. Their flame strike is armor piercing. So he effectively only got 14 protection against the flame strikes, which were doing 17 damage a pop, or 19 damage in the case of these fire elementals. And so he just got worn down. He didn't manage to get any kills of real units, only fire elementals. And my troops got more or less killed in the breach. There were several swarms going off, which didn't help. And then the Roman infantry was just coming in, just swarming in and overwhelming me. My mages were throwing flying shards in an effort to support, but flying shards is a terrible spell that doesn't support very well. So, yeah, didn't work out great. In terms of casualties inflicted, not many. I just pretty much got wiped by mainly the augurs. The archbishop did a ton of damage to my skeletons because he was banishing at holy level 3. So I knew that was going to happen. I just kind of summoned up the long dead in order to have something, and overall didn't really pay off. So that happens. In the Copper Canyons, Punchmaster punched his way through a bunch of earth elementals. In Digmore, we actually bounced a little army that was attacking, ran into more province defense than he was expecting, I believe. And so he just brought a few troops and one augur elder with fire gems, who summoned a fire elemental. I'm actually kind of surprised. I am actually surprised, but I think I HP routed him. Yeah, I HP routed him. That's what happened. So the augur elder unfortunately got away. He got his fatigue back just in time, and he managed to escape the vengeful spears of the Amazons. But he won't make that mistake again. This thing is happening. The war against the Helots. And in Kimmery, we were attacked by more Earth Gnomes, and we destroyed them. Arcos Folly also beat those guys. We have finally overcome the siege defense of Dry Fields. However, there aren't enough supplies to maintain it. So with 120 siege strength, which is what we have right now, we are breaking down the walls, but only slowly. I'm leaving Demucos for a turn, but then I'm going to have to pull these troops back because this line is not where we're taking big losses. This line is where we're taking big losses. We've now lost 2 forts. We have a 3rd under siege. So that's a problem. Like a real problem. This is an issue. Lanka continues to push into Hinnomite territory, so Hinnom is struggling. But over here, it's like, I can't maintain troops on this border. I have to pull my troops down here. And, diplomatically, the bad thing that happened this turn was Mictlan and Tianqi informed us that they are canceling their non-aggression pact with us. So in 3 turns, on turn 33, they will be free to attack. So, in order to avoid being attacked by them, insofar as that's possible, what we have to do is, we have to put up a strong front and show that we're winning this war, basically in order to make them think that attacking us is not easy pickings. Because the reason they're attacking us, I'm quite certain, is that they've got scouts in our territory and they've seen that Niflheim has been getting the crap kicked out of him, and I have been losing armies. So I lost an army there, I just lost an army there, I lost an army here. I've lost 3 armies in the last 8 turns, something like that. Well, I've well outpaced my army production. I'm setting up a defensive line at Amul, and this is more or less the situation that favors me the most. I've got a big old line of Gigantes, I've got some skirmishers out front, and I've got quite a number of mages plus a thug. And that thug, casting Earth Power, Iron Skin, Temper Flesh, and Protection from Fire, that is critical, because Temper Flesh plus Protection from Fire will effectively neuter the attacks of fire elementals, and then he's attacking rear. He's got his main gouge of parrying, so his defense skill is quite high, his protection is pretty decent, and once he casts Iron Skin and Temper Flesh will be higher. He's immune to shock damage, he'll be immune to fire damage, and he's regenerating. So he'll be pretty solid. Not unkillable by any means, but pretty solid. I've got a couple of mages blessing my other mages that are scattered around. I've got 3 mages laying down Strength of Giants and Legions of Steel on my armies, which will buff their protection, making them less vulnerable to fire elementals, and it will also buff their strength, so they'll do a ton of damage when they hit. I've got several mages throwing fireballs from behind the lines, and I've got a couple of Bless Monkeys blessing up the other mages, like I said. So, this army might not beat that Armorian army, but it should at least cause significant damage, which is pretty much the best I can hope for at this point. It might beat this army, but it might not. I certainly can't promise anything. I am outnumbered very, very heavily. This is about 160, or more specifically, it's actually about 130 units all told. But the Barbarians will hit pretty hard. The Hastati will not be very effectively able to hurt my Gigantes, but they will still be able to put up some kind of a fight. The Equite of the Sacred Shroud might be highly effective if they flank me, which they probably will do. And of course he has the Lar, he has Horticulturalists, he has many, many Augurs, and you can see the Augurs did quite a bit of damage, mainly with Mind Burn, and occasionally with throwing fire spells at me. And the Flamans were throwing Magma Bolts and stuff. So, we'll see how it goes. I did kill another Baratine Priest, which is fine. I tried to kill a Horticulturist and failed. This is the problem with trying to assassinate. Sometimes you run into Nature or Death Mages, and both Nature Mages and Death Mages are incredibly effective at stopping assassins. Nature Mages, because they can cast Swarm, and Death Mages, because they can cast Horde of Skeletons. And Swarm, of course, does armor negating damage, so they just chewed Priam to death very, very rapidly. That is why Nature Mage Assassins are incredibly dangerous, incidentally. Worldwide events, the Throne of Gaia has stopped spawning attacks and units have been healed, which is nice and all. Punchmaster is pulling back. He's going to pass through Makone. He's going to pick up new armor and new shoes, which I should be getting any time from Arcocephale. Arcocephale is also going to be funneling Vine Shields and similar thug gear to Niflheim and me. We are going to start deploying thugs and super combatants as rapidly as we can. Geared Nifl Jarls and geared Polemarches and Punchmaster in an effort to stem the tide, because we can't produce units quickly enough to fight these armies. We're just not, that's just a competition we're not going to win. My troops are high quality, but I've lost so many of them, and my replacement rate is so low that I can't handle it. So, gonna have to lean on, instead of troops, like I said, thugs and super combatants, basically. And that is going to be what we have to work with. I'm low on resources in Makone. Again, because Unrest has gone up and I don't have anybody patrolling, because I can't afford to have units patrolling right now. I am going to have Ami summon up some undead to do that for me. So we're going to be casting Reanimation 4 or 5 times, and then reviving a king in order to lead them. That'll take several turns, and my Unrest is going to spike throughout the fall, of course, which is going to hurt my income and my resources and everything, and it's going to suck, because Makone sucks. You can tell I'm in kind of a bad mood right now. But, to be fair to me, it's kind of a bad situation. We will see what we can do up here. I've been trying to get peace with these guys, and I cannot. They will not allow it. They're smelling blood in the water is what it is. And, like I said, unless we can put up a real strong front down here and reverse some of these losses that we've suffered, we are going to be attacked. I can almost guarantee it. This is one of the diplomatic problems. First of all, this is a diplomatic problem that comes with being large. We grabbed pretty large borders early on, and I'm pretty sure that did scare people to some extent. And it's one of the problems that comes with being central in a non-wraparound map. If this had been a wraparound map, I would bet that we would have been able to convince these guys to help us fight these guys, because they would have been right north of them. And what with how quickly we beat up Xibalba and pushed back Sauramesha and Baratos, I bet we would have been able to get Ermor and Kalem and Ulm to come in on our side of that war, especially because Baratos would have been close enough to potentially get access to the lake, which would let him recruit his Stormcallers, and nobody wants that. Baratos becomes very powerful in the late game if they have access to everything. Even crippled Baratos, as you can see, has been able to hold us off. Admittedly, a big part of that is because we haven't been able to concentrate forces on them. But my point is, the diplomatic situation would have been hugely, hugely different if this had been a standard, fully wraparound map. And it's sort of frustrating that it wasn't, but it's our own fault. Nobody said anything about it, and I should have kept that in mind. So at this point, I think we're just gonna get gangbanged. We'll see. We might be able to hold out. We've been doing a pretty solid job so far, but like I said, we're taking losses. And every fort we lose in particular cuts our ability to respond and increases the powers of our enemies. So we've got to be able to turn this around. I am hoping that the arrival of Punchmaster on the field will be a turning point, because if I can get Punchmaster down there, then Punchmaster could potentially turn things around for us just by being invincible, just as invincible as possible. Our Dominion conflict bonus is slowing the damage from the enemy Dominion push, and the fact that we did manage to burn down a couple of Ulm's temples, it hasn't stopped it by any means. So that's going to be another problem. But if we can get Punchmaster down here to help fight some defensive battles and break some armies in our own Dominion, that will definitely help us gather forces for a push back. We'll see how it does. We'll see. We will just see what we can do. Arcosafale, of course, is somewhat freed up. Some of his troops are going to have to stay up here in order to hold the border. And then some of his troops and mages are definitely going to have to come south. This is a worry, because I'm sure Tianchi will be wanting to take advantage. Coming down to help hold Niflheim will be crucial to our continued survival and success. Continued survival. I've set a whole bunch of my guys to call Disciple in an effort to get Cerberus back, Kirby, because I'm frustrated that he hasn't come back yet. So is Arcosafale. He should only take 25 points to call back, so he should be back. But we're just going to see if we can get him back this turn, because having a third Pretender God chassis to help out will be invaluable. Especially now that he has a little bit more research and can be geared somewhat. Like, you could put a Ring of Regeneration on a Hound of the Underworld. So that would push him up to 20% regen between that and the Bless, which would make him quite defensively powerful. And he can cast Iron Skin and all kinds of spells on himself. So cross your fingers, knock on wood, hope he comes back soon. Over here, I'm not going to be able to hold this siege because I am starving, because there's only 97 supplies in this place, so I need supply items, which of course I can't have because I don't have, well, you know, I don't have any nature mages. So I'm going to have to send a message. I thought I'd actually already done this, but we're going to send all my nature gems to Arcosafale. Great. Unfortunately, my fire gem income is garbage, or I would be forging fire items right now, as it is about the only item that I can forge really reliably. I can forge earth items still. I am still getting pretty significant death gem income, although that's going to be going way down, and I do not want Ermor getting those death gems. So I'm going to have to fight over these provinces. I can't afford to move and take this province because I'm setting up this defense. I'm hoping he runs right into me and I crush his army, or at least damage it very badly. We'll see how it works. If I lose this fight, then I'm pretty much crippled for a few turns at least. I mean, I'm already badly damaged. If I lose this army, I'll be actually outright crippled for a while. For at least until Punchmaster can get down here to try and save my hide. So, we'll see how it goes. I know I'm not sounding very optimistic right now. We can still pull this out. With Nifl Jarls, Punchmaster, and some well-geared polemarchs, we can still do this. We just have to be careful about it. I think we can handle it. But we'll see. You know, we might lose here. It's possible that we're just going to be ground back and crushed. Stranger things have happened. At this point, it seems very, very possible. I mean, we've got this force right here, several Eagle Kings, plus all of his his Ahura of the Waters and all his area seraphs and all that good stuff. We've got this force led by Pinky besieging our fort here. Probably not really breaking in, but keeping the place locked down and preventing us from recruiting. We've just lost the Bulwark, which is a crippling blow to me because I need those death mages, and I lost most of them. So that's a big part of the late game plan gone, even if I make it past this issue. And this army is just a little bit hard to stop. Well, I take that back. It's not a hard army to stop if you have countermeasures for fire elementals, which I can, but I didn't at the time that this battle was fought. So that needs to happen. I'm also going to lose this province, so I am going to lose access to the Jade Amazons. Now, I haven't done anything with them yet, but we've already lost the Crystal Amazons. We've already lost the Onyx Amazons. We're about to lose the Jade Amazons. That's a serious problem. We're going to have to push back. We need to take those provinces back, and that means we need to, I mean, that makes me happy. I love it. We've got to take out Calum. I don't know where Calum is, but Calum is, and Ermor, like Ulm, I'm not worried about Ulm. Having fought Ulm a couple of times now, Ulm is not the danger. Like, legitimately, he's not. The danger is Calum and Ermor. We've got to take them out. We've got to cripple their ability to wage war on us, because otherwise this will never stop. Just like these guys won't make peace, I'm pretty confident these guys will not make peace. I'm pretty sure that they were actually brought into the war by Kosar and Nasajim. And it's because they saw we were already engaged in a war and went, well, over here we could fight, like, these factions. Hinnom is getting run over. All his teammates are gone. It's just him fighting the good fight. But they're like, over here we could fight Lanka, who's winning. Over here we could fight Mictlan, who has a Hellbless. Or we could fight these guys who are headed by a notoriously weak nation and are already locked in a war that's distracting them. So, yeah, let's go for the weak target, which I can't blame them for. And then Mictlan and Tianqi obviously have very much the same logic. They're like, well, these guys are already fighting 2 wars. They're losing territory down here, so clearly they're not doing well. Let's jump in and vulture away a bunch of provinces before anybody can stop us. Which, once again, makes sense. I can't blame them for it. The only way we stop that is by knocking out the teeth of these guys and proving that we still have the strength to fight. And if we can do that, like I said, then we might be able to persuade these guys to back off. We might be able to use Arcocephales' freed troops to polish off Baratos and render Sauromatia much less of a threat. It's possible. We just have to get there. And getting there is going to be a challenge. So we'll see what we can do. If there's a battle here that I win this turn, that will be a very good sign. And that will now allow me to start pushing back. If I can hold the line until Punchmaster gets back and gets geared up to resist fire and lightning, then that would be fantastic. So I'm going to give him copper armor. I'm also going to swap out these for Boots of the Messenger, and I'm going to swap this out for a Ring of Fire if I can. Because that will give him... He's already got a little bit of fire resistance. Actually, I can just cast Temper Flesh on him and it'll be fine, because he does have Earth 1. So that'll be alright. Iron Skin, Personal Regeneration, and Temper Flesh. And then attack is what he needs. He can actually also cast Elemental Fortitude, which gives him 5 resistance to everything. And will cost him almost no fatigue. Yeah, that wouldn't be bad, especially because it would also give him cold resistance. So yeah, do that. So Iron Skin, Regeneration, Temper Flesh, Fortitude. Great. So he'll grab Copper Plate and the boots. And then he'll be good to go. And with his really high defense skill, really high attack skill, really high damage, he can kill anything that comes towards him. With 30% regeneration, he can regenerate right through pretty much anything that hurts him. He'll have protection over 30, I think. I think he'll be okay. In fact, he doesn't necessarily even need to cast Iron Skin, but it won't hurt him once he's wearing the copper plate. So that's fine. Okay. So, that's the plan. This guy is still moving around sight searching. These 2 mages are actually trying to retreat out of enemy territory. I'm actually just going to have them call Disciple. Well, not enemy territory. They're in Niflheim's territory, but they're riskily exposed. I'm just going to have them call Disciple. Try to get Kerberos back as soon as we can. And that's the turn. That's turn 30. I'll see y'all on turn 31. Let's see how it goes. It's interesting. It's always, to be honest, I always kind of like fighting these defensive wars. Because it's a matter of, it gets irksome if it drags on too long. But it's always this entertaining tension of, can I turn this around? What can I do to make this work? Not sure if I can, but we'll see. And of course, I always like it when I get to deploy thugs against people. I love thugs. Thugs are just so much fun. I actually need to do a video sometime soon about gearing thugs and what thugs are useful for, but that'll come later. So in any case, thanks for watching. I'll see you next turn. Alright, so Warriors of Faith turn 32. My messages this turn said I had a stale turn, which I believe is certainly possible. I just was doing all this stuff, changing my computer and getting new hardware and software and etc. So it's entirely possible I dropped a turn sometime in there. Still not going great. We're doing alright up here. And you can see the Arcoscephale is moving his troops out and has retaken Feral Woods, which was apparently lost. Yeah, I think I did lose a turn. I think I lost turn 31. Punchmaster is down here in Makone. He's grabbed some new gear and is about to head out. Now, I need to make sure that I need to get Thaumaturgy level 3 active, like, right now. And I will tell you why. This is why. Let's look at this battle in Amul. So, in Vidivoros, we were attacked by ghouls, which we bounced. That's the Arouse Hunger remote attack spell. In Amul, we had a nice little battle against this army of Urmors. And they had a whole bunch of augurs that they communioned up. And they summoned fire elementals. They have this Lar in the back who is casting Howl. They've got these communion slave augurs way in the back of their lines. And they've got a little line of infantry. So if we just speed up really, really fast, we hurled a bunch of fireballs. We were actually supposed to be summoning fire elementals, but it looks like I don't have any gems. Yeah, pretty sure I lost a turn. Because it looks like they've already been in a battle in which they summoned a whole bunch of elementals, because I had them with gems. In any case, we did throw a whole bunch of fireballs. We summoned Unearth Elemental. We got howled. They summoned a whole bunch of fire elementals. And then the infantry charged in. And unfortunately, so like infantry-wise, the Gigante Hoplites did what they were supposed to do, generally speaking. However, they did get incinerated, which hurt them because they have this flaming damage that's armor piercing. And after a while, the enemy started casting. Well, watch. So I have my. So we've got the Howl. The Howl is disrupting us. Their fire elementals have managed to burn through my troops with their flame strikes and all. Up here, we've got Pallas the Polemarch. He's fire resistant, shock resistant, highly damage resistant, and regenerates, plus has protection 29. Really solid, right? Well, here's the problem. His magic resistance is 16, and this is an astral nation. So, they start throwing Mind Burn at him. And the Mind Burns work really, really well against him. So you can see here, he's taken one Mind Burn hit. It made him feeble-minded and blind because it blasted him in the head. So now all of a sudden his skills are nothing, and he's feeble-minded. So he doesn't have any magic, and his magic resistance is even lower. Which means that Mind Burns then just destroy him. So that is a very serious problem. So we do lose the battle. Many of my mages get away, some are killed. And it's overall, it's not great. I did kill 5 of his augurs, but 5 of his augurs is 300 gold, and 5 of my mages, an Archon, and 4 E4s is a lot more than that. Plus, I lost roughly equivalent numbers of units, but my units are a lot more expensive. So overall, this was, in fact, a crushing defeat once again. It's not doing great. I'm running up against the weaknesses of Makone. I mean, I'm not trying to make excuses for my play here. My play has been far from optimal. But also, I'm running up against the weaknesses of Makone. Makone has these good troops, but we're now entering the phase of the game where good troops don't matter as much as magic, and Makone's magic is kind of garbage. So, we're going to have him set to research. So, we're rushing up to Thaumaturgy level 3 so we can get Iron Will, which is a self-magic resistance booster spell, which we will definitely need, especially when Punchmaster starts going into combat. Now, Punchmaster has enough hit points. He has magic resistance 20, which isn't bad. And he has enough hit points plus his regeneration that he can probably just tank through Mind Burns from a pretty significant communion, and that's what I'm hoping he'll do. I'm sending Punchmaster in alone to wipe this army. They may well howl on him if they have the if they have a few more extra gems, but if they do, it'll be okay. We'll make it. Polykratos. There was this battle in Viliveros, where Polykratos didn't appear, so he must have just moved in there. See, I don't think I did lose a turn. No, I must have, because he's used up... Oh, he retreated from that battle. Aha. Well, Polykratos is boned, unfortunately. There's nothing he can do here that will be effective. He can make himself Earth 4, and then... And then what? Yeah, he can make himself Earth 4, alright. Let's Iron Skin, and then, we'll just Earth Meld. We'll just Earth Meld our giant hearts out here, I guess. He's got a fist attack that actually isn't terrible, funnily enough. Let's have you Temper Flesh, so... If they send some troops to attack, Polykratos might be somewhat more resilient than they were thinking, but I think he'll still go down. Especially because I don't actually have any troops here, and I have no money or resources to recruit troops. So let's just, yeah, let's do that. Might as well. And, yeah. If they send any quantity of troops, he's just doomed. If we look at what they lost in, not Viliveros, in Amul, not enough. We killed, overall, a little less than half. They still have all their independent heavy infantry. They lost most of their Hastati, going up against the Giganti Hoplites. And some of their Hoburg militia. They've still got some Hoburg militia, but in any case, it's a problem. And of course, my people are dying of diseases. Now, I did get my Cryptes, which is nice, except in this situation, they're not actually going to be helpful. So we're just going to set them to patrol for the nonce. I didn't get a Cryptes in Kimri. The event didn't fire in Kimri this year. Oddly enough, I did have E4s in Kimri, but I don't know. I'm not sure why that didn't happen. But we're trying to gather up a few more troops. It's taking a while. There's not much to be done about that. In other events, in Halbathria we got extra tax, and in Range of Shadow we have a monster boar, which I really don't care about. Or at least I can't spare the time and effort to do anything about. So, we've got Punchmaster, so we're sending Punchmaster out. We've got Isepos. As soon as we get, once we have Iron Will, it'll be a lot better, but we also need to fill up this other miscellaneous slot with an Amulet of Anti-Magic. So I need to get in contact with Arcocephale and tell him that I need those. So that is important. We do have geared Nephil Giants, and Nephil Jarls starting to move out, and we've got a pretty significant army right here that should be able to start pushing back. However, this is a problem. This is Mechlin getting ready to invade us. So, and this is Tianxi getting ready to invade us. So we're doomed. We're like, I'm just gonna put it out there. We are in fact doomed. We can't hold off this many attacks, especially because we're having trouble holding off the attacks we're under already, and now we're gonna have 2 more nations added to the heap. So, we're going down. We're yelling timber. And it's not going to be a great time, but we're going to do the best we can. This army, I'm actually going to pull out. Demukos and Apaisos need to move south. I just need to abandon the northern front, as it were. And we'll see what we can do. We've got a decent grip of troops up here as well. We're going to give them to this guy. And we're going to start moving them south. Pandakos. Nobody that we've recruited up here is any good in the fight, which is sort of hilarious and sad, but in any case. So they're going to head down towards Makone, and we'll try to make a final stand in the City of Gold and Marble, with Punchmaster roaming around punching people and inflicting damage, which he is very, 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 very good at doing. And of course he's resistant to things, and it'll be great. So, that's going to be the plan there. We're going to see if we can take back that province. That's 4 Earth Elementals. I think they're small Earth Elementals. I don't think they're full size. I would really love to have this province back, but I can't actually afford to spend the time and effort to do so at the moment. So, we will, we'll just continue on as we have been continuing. Yeah, not much else to say there. Like I said, we're getting Nephil Jarl thugs going as well with Vine Shields and such. And hopefully it all works out. But, in any case, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next turn. Hopefully be a little bit more more centered than this, since I am kind of rushing to get this done before the turn timer, because, of course, I've been distracted by computer issues. So, I'll see you all in turn 33. Alright, it's turn 33 of Warriors of Faith. The invasion has started on this side. Tianqi and Mictlan have begun to prepare. Now, there is a pretty significant Neefel stack right here. I just bumped my mic. Sorry, actually, I need to adjust my mic. Hold, please. I don't know if you just heard some weird noises, but if you did, too bad. So, there is a pretty sizable grip of Mictlanese troops right here. I don't think they can take that stack. So, Neefel is kind of holding on. Now, there is this army here in Pergami. And if we look at Pergami, this is that same army that's been attacking us so far, loaded up with a whole bunch more gems. They are spending a lot of gems, however they are winning, which is of course what gems are supposed to let you do. So it's all worth it from their perspective, certainly. They've got their Seraphines, they've got their Ahura of the Waters, they've got their Ahuranis up here, and I think they're following the same strategy they were, which is spamming a whole bunch of elementals. Not at the moment, because these guys don't deserve it, but you know what I mean. So they jump in, they cause chaos, they wipe out the province defense, no trouble whatsoever. Now in Viveros, the Archbishop peeled off and took his sacreds off to destroy my isolated troops in Viveros, which he did with great aplomb, and I couldn't do anything about it. In Amul, Punchmaster attacked. And so here's the interesting thing. He was clearly scripted to stop Punchmaster. And you can see Punchmaster has all his scripts. He has his defense skill of freaking 36, his attack skill really high, his protection really high, high hit points, and high regeneration. I need to get an amulet of regeneration on him as well to make it maximum. But watch what happens. So he's advancing, they're all scripted. I think they're still on script. And on script, they start casting Blindness, which is, of course, a debuff spell. You hit someone with them, and they go, someone with it, and they go blind. So now here's the interesting thing. Punchmaster advances straight into this, and he does, in fact, end up blinded. They're dropping Bonds of Fire, all kinds of stuff on him, so he ends up blind. Attack -9, defense -9, precision -9. Well, his attack is still 19, and his defense is still 20. While he's blind, and while he's berserk. Because his skills are just so high, the -9 doesn't matter. The berserk pretty much entirely cancels out the blindness penalty. So his attack is still really high. And, of course, he's regenerating. He's taking half damage from all non-magical sources. He's resistant to every element. He's only minorly cold resistant, but he's very resilient to everything else. He's berserk, so he won't rout. So despite being blinded, Punchmaster just charges straight into the teeth of the enemy. And they're all throwing Incinerate and Fireballs and all kinds of things at him, and they're doing damage, but he is just regenerating through it. So he just gets up there and he just starts punching fools. He is unstoppable. He will not, he literally will not stop punching people to death. And, yeah, he takes some damage, but he's just literally regenerating through the damage as fast as he takes it. And he punches half these guys to death, and then he advances, and I think he's advancing towards these guys in the back because he's scripted to attack rear. They do have an Onyx Sorceress who is enlarged, interestingly, and has nature gems for some reason. But so he had just, he routs the whole dang army off. Now he's slow. Very slow. I think blindness slows him down as well. I'm not entirely sure. Not entirely sure why he's combat speed 3 right now. But, yeah, I think what it is I think the blindness hurts him. So, but he is still invincible. So, he wins. He kills half the augurs, the centurion, and the flamen, leaving, so half the mages are dead, some of the troops are dead, and he just grinds right through, which is what I wanted him to do. I am researching, I should hit Thaumaturgy level 3. I thought I was going to hit Thaumaturgy level 3 quicker than this, but I'm going to hit it next turn. And so then I will have Iron Will. Over here, I'm casting Blessing of the Godslayer on one of my polar marches here, on Isepos, I believe. I'm forging Isepos a Mace of Eruption, and I'm also going to forge him a Black Steel Tower Shield. And what I want is I also want to get him an Amulet of Anti-Magic. and then he'll be able to cast, I've lost my words. He'll be able to cast Iron Will on top of that, and that will give him magic resistance 24 all told. Which is pretty good. His helmet is fine. I could give him a fire helmet, but I don't have any fire gems left, and I don't really want to alchemize a whole bunch of gems. My gem income is pretty rough at the moment, because of course I am being pushed back, but Punchmaster is now going to go, and so I could attack these guys. They have lots of options to move away from me, so instead I'm going to go straight down here. And we are going to take back Digmore, and then we're going to besiege the Bulwark. Troop-wise, I'm going to get my troops together. I've got Polybotes with troops there. So this guy, him, and him. Those four are all going to move. So we are killing our research just a little bit here, unfortunately. But it has to be done. There's no other option. 46... I have to hit Thaumaturgy level 3 is the thing. So these guys have to wait. But yeah, I can start to move them out. They have pretty significant siege strength. So I can use them to start putting the Bulwark under siege in order to recapture it. And with Punchmaster on the field, our chances have gone way, way up. Once I get, I suppose, fully geared up with, well, better gear, he'll be good as well. I'm hitting construction level 4 immediately after Thaumaturgy because, once again, I feel like thugs are our only hope at this point. Baratos has begun to counterattack, as is to be sort of expected. However, I think he's going to have to pull back to deal with this situation fairly shortly. At least I hope. I can't really deal with Storm Demons at the moment, so Pandokos actually needs to move back here. I'm totally out of money, so I can't recruit anything up here either, which is super, super annoying. Demukos, I would love to bring Demukos down to help. Unfortunately, I think he also has to stay up here to keep the pressure on, to keep Baratos honest. Yeah, actually, I'm just going to have him stay here in Dragonscale Mountains in case these guys move out with the Seir. I think that's what I have to do. We're trying to gear Neeful Jarls. We're trying to get AI level Doomstacks down here. But it is, at this point, we are just fighting as hard as we can to stay alive for as long as we can. This stack needs to try and, we have to try and break this army. If we can break this army, then we have more of a chance. But it'll be, I mean, no matter what, this is going to be rough. We can see this army just rolled in, wiped out province defense. This army hit Niflheim and broke through because Storm Demons are amazingly powerful. His Bride in Waiting, I don't know what she was casting. Blessing on the Colossi, and then self-buffs, it looks like. But yeah, you can see the Lightning Bolts just, it's just not hardly possible to advance against those. And it will not, my hoplites will not have any better luck than anybody else, unfortunately. And of course, once again, I'm out of fire gems because my fire gem income is garbage. This province, that's what I need. I need Pugria. But alas, we will see how things can go. Also, Lanka is down here. Lanka's been fighting Hinnom, of course, and it looks like Saromatia is now taking the chance to take a bite out of Hinnom themselves. We're doomed. We don't have enough. Like, Punchmaster can hold down a flank pretty well until they figure out a way to kill him. Which they will, because you can always figure out a way to kill anything into minions, and he's not perfectly geared. Punchmaster can hold down a flank. My armies really can't at this phase of the game. They've outlived the early game powerful troops usefulness. I needed to. The big problem with Makone, as I've said before, is you have to transition. You have to have a secondary plan outside the troops that you transition to, and you don't really, because your magic is all fire and earth. So you can buff your troops, but it's especially with all your very expensive mages, it is rough. Expensive mages, no powerful mages, really no communions. It's hard. It is a hard sell. Still recruiting a few more Gigante Hoplites just to sort of round out the lines. Actually, yeah, I could get 15 heal Peltasts instead of those 3, but it's like, it's not even worth it, to be fully honest. Might be worth to get a few Healet Hoplites here. Like that, something like that. Like that, yeah. I don't know. It is a hard call. I feel like at this point what I really need is just chaff. So I'm tempted to do, you know, this. But at the same time, those units are individually so much weaker than the Giganti Hoplites. It really kind of depends on who I'm fighting, I suppose. I mean, I could get heal at Ekdromos all day, every day, and they're okay, but... It's rough. It is pretty rough. Pretty rough indeed. So, like I said, Punch Master's heading down here. Hopefully they'll try to kill him and he'll wipe them out. Up here we've got my troops standing around. These guys are moving. We've got Narvi the Jotun Jarl up here. We're going to see if we can't hold this place against the Seir if the Seir come out to play. You guys need to be on hold and attack closest in a line. You guys need to be also in a line, and you can all be on fire and keep distance, and you can be on attack rear. And we'll set you way down there as a distraction. Pandakos can summon a lesser air elemental and then cast spells. And Periphas is also sneaking right back up in order to, basically just in order to persuade Baratos and Saramesha to be careful. Periphas is going to sneak up here. If he has a chance to assassinate the bride-in-waiting leading this army, if the army comes in to try and attack Nashin, then I will take it. Otherwise, we'll see what can be done. And yeah, we'll see how, we'll go down swinging. We'll see how well we can do. It's possible if we can maybe somehow stabilize this flank. There's too many flanks to stabilize, is the problem. Like, we could win any one of the wars we're involved in, basically. If that was the only war we had to worry about, we could win any one of the wars we're involved in. The problem is that we're involved in 3 now. We have this war, we have that war, and with those 2 wars, we were kind of being ground down slowly. Add in these guys, and the situation has now become impossible. So, well, we'll see how hard we can die. We'll show them how a Giganti dies. But in any case, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in turn 34.